was that with the history? It was... Oh yeah, Wave Hill Walk-Off. So yeah, Wave Hill Walk-Off was a very, very important thing here in Australia for Aboriginal people. It inspired Aboriginal people across Australia to fight for their rights, and was especially inspiring to Anagu here. So after they're finally classified as people, then Anagu started, first of all, protesting the climb on Ularu, but also were fighting for their land back. Now there was a referendum as well, or not a referendum, a land rights act here in the Northern Territory that came in, I believe it was 1975. The Land Rights Act was introduced here, which basically provided the opportunity for Aboriginal Australians to, if they could prove that they had traditional ownership to the land, then they would be able to acquire their land back, or at least put in the effort to get it back. So after that, Anagu put in the effort to provide that evidence of traditional ownership, and under the Contiguous Land Claim in 1979, they were given the land back. Well, they were given the areas north and east of Ularu and Catajuda. They were granted the title deeds to that land. However, because Ularu and Catajuda were alienated by the national park, they were not able to get the rocks back at that time. It didn't take too many years later until they were finally granted Ularu and Catajuda. Bob Hawke, very famous and loved Prime Minister here in Australia, handed the title deeds back to Anagu for Ularu and Catajuda National Park October 26, 1985. We actually just celebrated the 40 years of handback just this past October, and it was beautiful and incredible and moving. Shane Howard, very, very famous Australian artist here, performed as well. He performed his famous song Solid Rock, or in Pidginjata, Kuli Kumpuka. And it was gorgeous. It was absolutely lovely. Very, very special. Very big day. So Anagu was handed back their land, and Anagu then leased back the land to Parks Australia for a period of 99 years. And they look at the lease agreements basically every 10 years or so to make sure that rules are being followed, that things are properly taken care of. And this was especially important because there were pretty devastating fires here in the national park in the 70s, because they were not doing proper patch burning, as Anagu have done for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So having been pushed off their land for so long, they weren't able to take care of the land as they always have. So that fire took out about 75% of the life within the park, unfortunately. But luckily that land was handed back, and you can see everything's doing pretty well out here. Unfortunately, there are things we did lose permanently. But as you can see, things are very lush and very beautiful. Some of that has to do with the rain we get out here, but a lot of it has to do with that patch burning. It's important. So about 10 years after the land was handed back to Anagu, the Cultural Centre opened October 26, 1995. So over these decades, Anagu went from not being recognized as people at all to being recognized as the traditional owners here in Australia, which is huge. In a very, very short amount of time. That's quite a big leap. And not just that, Anagu were also recognized on an international stage. They were granted listings out here for the natural and cultural landscape.